everybody.
Hi. How's your leg? Your foot?
It's the same. I'm frustrated. It's 2 weeks and it's not better yet. I need it to be better. I'm going stir
Yeah.
crazy. But thanks for
We're
asking.
We're thinking of you.
Well, thank you.
So we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. We call the meeting at 6:04. When you don't have to stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I haven't heard from Gabby. Is on, I'm sure Fran is intending to come. She's probably running a little late. The 6 o'clock is kind of early for her, I think. But I did talk to her Monday and she said, yeah, that was good. She didn't mind.
I just heard a door opened.
Okay. Oh yeah, here's something. Oh, it's Gabby. It's Gabby. It's Gabby. Great. Are there any added agenda items? Gabby, I love your face. Like, what?
Oh, no, I was just looking to make sure I didn't have anything I wanted to add.
Anybody? If not, we'll move on to the adoption of the minutes, approval of the minutes, rather. 2 sets of minutes, the special meeting, a quick little special meeting, and the regular meeting of June 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of the June 10th meeting.
We'll second that. Seconded by Betsy. Yep. All those, any discussion, corrections, changes? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. On to the June 18th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 18th, 2026 special meeting minutes.
Motion made by Courtney, seconded by Carrie. Any corrections, discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody. Okay. Upcoming meeting events. Is the 24th, so we are here. So we don't have another meeting until July 22nd. We're just doing the one meeting in July. Are we doing one in August as well?
We are, it's on the later end.
Okay.
I think typically in the past
The
it's
second-
lined up with
the
a
second.
convocation day.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's the same this year, but I feel like the past couple of
Oh.
I won't be at the July meeting because I'll be on vacation.
We'll be where?
On vacation.
Awesome.
I'm also on vacation that week, but I will come back.
Let's see what the agenda's like, but you can always remote in. We will skip the financial report for now because Ryan is
He's
on there.
running a favor for something I forgot.
So we'll move on to the personnel report, which is right after the page 42.
Page 42.
43.
Oh, 43. I don't have my reading glasses.
Oh, yours might be different because your packet was created before the special meeting minutes were in it, Betsy.
Oh, yeah, mine is 42.
Yes, it's because.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Just running one.
So
Yeah,
42.
43.
You have the pre-published packet.
So Patrick, is the resignation of the admin a new one? The new one? This Jordan one?
No, she's been there. No, that,
I How's it
I think-
talking before?
that was for, curriculum
Oh,
instruction.
that was,
Yep.
any questions on personnel report? If not, we will move on to superintendent's report.
Yes. So our last board meeting was June 10th. I can tell you, we had a very successful but busy, close to the school year. High school graduation was held, the next day, June 11th, and middle school promotion, took place on June 16th. I can report that both events, were well attended and ran very smoothly. Also on June 10th, I think I stated this on the day of the board, but we recognized Amy Wise as Teacher of the Year. And then following that, June 16th, Cecilia Rosa, who's a paraprofessional at Broadbrook School, was honored as our Paraprofessional of the Year. So kind of new tradition. We surprised both within the classroom and their setting. We had their families present. Unbeknownst to them that their family would be in the school. And that in front of the students and the staff that were available, like in the class at that time. Both went very, very well. Certainly a tradition will continue in the future, and two really good staff members for East Windsor Public Schools, and we're proud for them to represent us. We also continued a recently new tradition of our graduating seniors walking through each of the district schools. We also had a kindergarten and fourth grade students participate in a similar like celebratory walks just through their individual buildings as it marked important milestones in their education journeys. And then finally, WFSB did air that wonderful feature on our twin seniors who graduated as valedictorian and salutatorian of the class of 2025. Wonderful story. So that information, the photos, the videos highlighting those accomplishments, celebrations, is on our district social media, primarily Facebook, and certainly kudos to Jessica for helping capture those moments.
Andrew, both of them were wonderful as far as speakers.
Okay.
The salutatorian made me cry. I mean, he was, he talked about, you probably.
You're speaking about graduation.
He was speaking to graduate, and he talked about his father in just moments. And that was so
That was very
compelling. It really was. It's really wonderful.
How you need to listen.
Yeah,
And how to
just
listen to his father listened to him.
yeah.
And throughout life, you should listen. It was really touching.
It was.
Yeah.
It was the auditorium looked gorgeous. Everybody did a really nice job. It looked great.
Thank you.
it?
That's it.
Quick. Okay, old business. Do we want to wait for Ryan for this one as well?
I can give an update on 1 and 2 here.
Okay.
So FY 2027 budget, there's a memo within, just reference the page.
43. Yeah.
So it would be
Around there.
43 or 44. So just an update regarding the information that is included in the board packet. The additional appropriation of the $226,764 was approved by the Board of Selectmen. So that request is now scheduled to be considered by the Board of Finance, which I'm assuming will be their regular meeting, which would be July 15th.
But it's approved to go to town meeting. It's not totally approved.
Correct. They would need to go to the Board of Finance for them to vote.
Send it to town meeting.
Correct. And then I believe it actually goes back to Board of Selectmen to set a date for
Right.
town meeting, correct? I believe that meeting is typically the very next day. So I believe they can,
Oh, good.
the Board of Finance can vote it the next day, the Board of Selectmen, if I have their meeting schedule accurate, can set the date, and then I would hope that be the following week, the town meeting would be set. So
I think there's a 15-day posting requirement.
They said that last time for the special ed vans, but it definitely wasn't 15 days.
Or it's gotta be published in like a paper with 5 consecutive.
Cause it was, I know that came up last time, but following the process with the special ed, it was definitely like it was the next week they said it, because, I mean, maybe I should keep my, lips zipped. But I mean, if it's, so my hope, so I should say, my hope is that it would be resolved following that, vote sometime in the end of July. Certainly, if they do have to post it for a certain amount of time, that would extend. So until that final outcome is known, Ryan and myself won't be prepared, to present a finalized budget to the Board of Ed, for approval. So we remain hopeful, that additional funding will be approved, allowing us to restore a portion of the reductions and, move forward with a more complete budget. Yes.
Can I just, thank you. Thank you for the update. One of the things at the town meeting, a lot of times, so, all citizens will be voting on this, at this town meeting. And a lot of times things are either passed or not by a very few people.
Yeah.
Right? So, in terms of, I don't even know what the number is. I think if we could get 40 parents there or 40 citizens there that are, responsive to what we are advocating, that it could pass. And I think it's critical, in terms of just, a number of, and it will be difficult because it's probably going to be sometime in the summer.
Vacation time, yeah.
Yeah. So just even thinking about, how we might, generate that, network.
I think as well as parents, certainly parents should have stake in it. But I think if we just tell our families
Yeah.
and any network that we have, our town committees, just different people that we know to please come and support it if they're pro
It won't
education.
take a lot, but it will take concerted effort because
We need to have some people there.
yeah, we saw with that, how the caseworker, right, which wasn't the first time it didn't pass, but the second time when there was a little more, consensus out there, it was passed overwhelmingly. So, just be thinking about that, That's all.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Betsy.
So are there any other questions on the memo that Patrick did to us about the budget? No.
The two positions that are up for consideration to be potentially cut. Have you been in conversation with those individuals already? So they're
Met with them, Tuesday. So we had the Board of Finance meeting and I met with them on Tuesday.
And we can afford to lose a special ed teacher at the elementary school at this point.
In the short term, yes. In the long term, it's very possible. If we don't have that, you'll see it in the budget. And if we do have to reduce that.
So we may have to, we
would
may have
be
to go.
elsewhere. So,
if you're cutting the culinary teacher, we're cutting, does that mean cutting back on like the culinary classes that are offered at the high school? too?
right now, all of them would be removed from the schedule,
That's,
1%. And I did
those are
not real
popular classes and.
about 100 kids per semester.
100 kids per semester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very popular.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer.
Part of the challenge with the budget is, obviously it's a funding mechanism, but, when you're looking to prioritize, if you have I'll use, foods, for example, you have someone like on top salary.
Yeah.
And it's a singleton, so there's no bumping versus like, let's say, like, I'll just use like classroom teacher of any department, it doesn't matter. Well, it's not like, typically there's seniority. So in those cases, you would be eliminating essentially the lowest paid person and
Because they bump each other.
yep. And so then in that scenario, you're eliminating 2 positions versus 1.
For the culinary, you're eliminating two.
No, I'm saying.
Just-
like,
just
Because of the cost for
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
for that teacher.
So,
She's hired. And wasn't that where we had to replace kitchen equipment and all of that
Yes.
as well?
Yep.
So maybe just a year breather kind of thing, and then is it your intent to bring it back?
We,
next year?
we would have to if the so the high school wants to proceed with offering additional electives, which they need to move in that direction anyway, because the state is, essentially raising the credit requirement to graduate. So to stay ahead of that, you need to offer more course offerings. So in order to do that, you have to add another period within your schedule. So I can tell you prior to this, we were working with the teachers union to essentially add another period to the schedule under the existing contractual obligations. And those conversations are going well, but then based on the budget status, we were not comfortable. When I say we, like myself, and proceeding with the unknown. So we were potentially looking to offer these additional electives this upcoming school year. We pumped the brakes on that because of where the budget status was. And we said we'd wait and then engage the teachers again in September and have it in place. So it's quite possible, again, another example where like if we did lose it, we may need to be pushing and understanding that if the budget is the budget, there'll be other places we'll have to reduce or take in. Whether that's eliminating like classroom teachers to do increased class size. I mean, we're not there, but like, you know, this is kind of like the balancing act we're in. I mean, a 2% budget isn't sustainable for anyone. And we've done a really good job to get really to 2% and the 226 that we were hoping to have. And I mean, that additional 226 really brings us close to being whole, which is, and when you look at what other surrounding towns and school districts were requesting, I mean, I think we did a heck of a job putting together a responsible budget. We wish we got the 226 on the front end because then, you know, we could feel more secure where we are. Thanks, Ryan. But unfortunately, it's kind of where we are. And we don't want to overreact because we want to preserve as much as we can going forward because we feel like our kids deserve it.
But Patrick, given, and my question then is, in terms of, you know, the electives and the whole stuff from the state as far as for seniors, right? So,
And that's not in place now. That's coming as far as the.
but is it for next year? Are they saying this has to happen next year?
I think it's not this coming year. It might be the fall.
Okay, all right. It's coming, so it's, okay.
The other issue is like what kids stay in our town. We obviously lose a percent of kids already at the high school level because it's a small town and so there are limited offerings. And so the more we have to cut from those, the harder that's gonna hit, you know.
I 100% agree with you.
And I know you guys, I think you guys did an amazing job with the budget. So I kudos to you guys because you
Thank
are
you.
always very creative in making things work and combining things. And so I just hope it works. We're hope it works out, right?
Well, I guess I don't feel as bad as I would in an island because across the state, you see a lot of budgets that aren't passing. Ellington just passed on their third like yesterday or the day before. Stafford still doesn't have one. I don't know if Windsor locks. I saw no signs like last week.
I don't
They
think there's
haven't
one
passed it yet. So they've got to be thinking about doing the same kinds of things that we are.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have any discussions about like pay to play or eliminating sports programs or music programs. We could have done a lot worse, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then another encouraging part of it, there was no commentary going on during the whole thing. Did anybody have to come with the schools? There was no, the schools have way too much money, the schools need, that was not part of the issue.
No,
The issue was,
yeah.
what is the issue that is just the issue?
Yeah.
But it was nice this year not to be yes, just to have the comments going out there,
We spent too
which
much on-
means they're getting to understand things better and appreciate it. So that was encouraging.
Yeah, I agree.
And actually the cut the whole $226,000 thing. People who are adamant no voters, who will vote no just because I have to vote no, they were not pleased that it happened. A couple of them reached out to me and said, what the heck? And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. People who would generally be saying, don't. So hopefully the town meeting, they also come and vote yes. I don't know. That might not happen. But at least
that much, you know.
I found it as
Even on social media, I
encouraging.
had seen people saying similarly, like, we feel like this should be going right to the, with schools and the education fund and not through the town versus this. and that.
Yeah. So some of the communication, I know we've been reluctant to really talk about, if the, town meeting, if the $227,000 is not passed at a town meeting, that means that we do have to make some cuts. Now we know this, Patrick, you've had a chance, but I don't know if that, I mean, that's kind of the bottom line as far as what citizens and our, everybody needs to know, that this is what it means. We've been gentle in terms of kind of saying it, but I think that message has to go out, honestly.
So
I don't know if you could put this letter out there, public record. It's a
Yeah.
public record.
Yeah, I agree.
And it clearly says what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if that's the way to go, but, it's not. I don't see it as we're not having the conversation. It's a matter of how do you get the conversation out to the people who need to know the conversation.
Gabby, you had a question?
Yeah, so if it doesn't pass, if it gets to the point of, going to a town meeting and it doesn't pass, does that mean it stays on the town side?
I mean, at that point, so I don't know.
I guess I don't understand like what happens if it's not allocated to us.
Patrick and I haven't talked about it, so I won't share my thought until I hear from Patrick, but I haven't a thought.
I can explain the
I'm
mechanics of what they.
so I would tell you, like, I'm not going to speak out of turn in the sense like that area of process is not like, I'm still a little bit confused by it. I understand where we are now, and what we need to do to obtain the 226, but how we got there, why it's this process, I can't, I'm not comfortable enough to speak to that.
So my thought is, we're not the only school that this is happening to. There are other towns that are doing exactly the same thing. Somebody like a big city like Bridgeport that has, I'm sure, quite a bit. It's not hundreds of thousands, it's probably. They're gonna be suing for that money. And then precedent will be made, and then we can go off that precedent, is my thought. So whatever is decided in the courts for that, now it may be 2 years from now. I don't know, but if it's said by the courts that money does belong to the schools, give it to the schools. We just need one town to sue for that. Do we know if there are other towns actually? Yeah, yes, there are.
And that's just a lack of clarity on the state side when they pass the legislation, right?
That was lack of clarity. You're right. Absolutely. It was thrown together. I don't know.
Because what they're claiming that it's supposed to be used to lower the mill rate, right? So if we take it directly on top of whatever
It's an
the
election.
town voted for, I know.
I think that's what it's all about.
I get it.
Sorry.
I get, and Gabby, what happened, the way it works. The money, the $226,000, the way that they did the budget. When that money comes over from the state of Connecticut, that has to go into the fund that covers the entire budget. So the budget is covered by all of the revenue that comes in. They took the money and they put it into that revenue pot. So it's just not there for them to give it to us. They can't. If they had taken it and put it in an off fund, then they could have. So now what they're trying to do is for the new budget, they're doing an added appropriation. They're trying to do an added appropriation. So the budget that we just voted on is now going to go up by $227,000, and they take that money out of the fund balance to get the money to us if it passes. So that's the mechanics of it.
There any other comments or questions about that? Or anything else on the 2027 budget? No? Do we want to, go back to financial or do we want to continue old business and finish that? I don't think it'll take long.
I feel like we're already talking about finances.
Well, no, I think the finances, he's got a pretty substantial report, but the school renovation project update is really the ad hoc meeting that we had. And I think pretty much everybody here is aware, those that were not at the meeting, you heard what Jamie Foster had to say, that's really pretty much what we talked about. And the ad hoc is, done, I think next week it's an expired term. And, it was decided by the group that the Board of Selectmen will reestablish it in August and start another 18-month term. So I think it would be good for us, for our board, to have discussion maybe on the next agenda about where we want to head. Or in
So
August.
wasn't that mean, who decided that that's what they was gonna happen? Was it a collective, people, everybody on the?
It was ad hoc. I wanted to wait until the fall. I just figured, let's just give it a couple months of us figuring out what we want to do. But the majority was to just go 1 month, which is fine. I just don't know that we'll have a whole lot of new ideas for the ad hoc group, how to approach what we're doing to make it a more successful committee. The Board of Selectmen need to talk about it on their side. Maybe going to the meeting where they're appointing that board would be interesting to hear what they have to say, if they have some insights as to what they're thinking. I don't know.
When you say you don't understand what.
Oh, because when we had talked about it at a meeting here, it felt like it was very strongly felt here at the Board of Ed that we wanted to maybe take that back and have, I don't want to say control, because I don't mean it like in that
Yeah.
way, but maybe just have some more time for us to have a little bit more say in what we wanted to do moving forward before it was kind of brought back to that committee as a whole. So really, since it was unsuccessful, it seemed like it was not the most successful committee, at least from my view, and I'm not overly involved in it, so, I'm not trying to say anything negative about anything, but I would just thought that was the consensus here, was I thought.
Denise
it
did
was,
sh-
yeah.
Yeah, not to interrupt, but Denise did share that during the meeting, and as a collective group, as far as the committee as a whole.
It was.
Yeah, I don't know if we took a formal vote, but it
Yeah.
was certainly consensus as far as keeping it with the ad hoc, but Denise did put it right out there as far as the feelings on the board.
Yeah, and I was pretty clear that the communication needs to be done very differently. And
I agree.
Yeah,
Work together.
so many.
Courtney was very,
Yeah.
Courtney was very good as far as asking some very pointed questions that received very direct answers. I think is helpful to move the work forward.
yeah. And maybe thought provoking for all the members on, those that aren't on Board of Ed that weren't privy to what
Yeah.
we were thinking. And maybe they're going to be doing some thinking about how can we do it different, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some frustrations all along, but I do think there's some positive takeaways. We are continuing to get some work done. So Ryan just recently provided consultant through CSG information to analyze potential cost savings associated with the school consolidation, right sizing. So by having that information, like as we're starting to get closer and we regroup and we start about messaging and engagement, we'll have more information regarding like the cost savings with going from 2 schools to a campus, and obviously right sizing all our schools. I mean, we do have Jamie Foster on record saying that she is prepared to advocate for 85% reimbursement. Certainly, I think that is a positive. Certainly, we'll have to have conversations as far as what that dialogue is so that we're all on a clear path. I think the Donovan Group, giving them more time, will assist with some of that communication. They did say they will be updating the website and developing some messaging regarding the current status. I will tell you, I had a community member yesterday that called me out of the blue and said, "Hey, we're going to go in the fall." No, and generally like interested. Doesn't have kids in school or anything.
Oh, wow.
And wanted to see it go forward. And I had to provide the update, but it was a reminder that information does need to get out to the public as well. I do think, we have some things working in our direction as well too.
Was CSG at the meeting?
They were, yep, and the Diamond Group was virtual.
And then my question just about Ryan getting information to CSG or whatever. The town is going to continue to pay for all of that, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there was no question about sending us the bills.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, my question is kind of the bill too. So, Donovan Group, I think they've been wonderful.
Yeah.
It was a great fund, Patrick. And, I really appreciate his input and his insight in terms. So my question is, do we still have, do we have what does the contract, how does that written? So we have them now, will we have them in the future? What does that mean?
I have to follow back up with them. They're prepared to pause the
Okay.
contract. So they've self-initiated that. So they recognize it's not like us pushing. They've been
Yeah.
very transparent in their communication, understanding where our projects are. So we haven't had that conversation. We've had the conversation that we need to have the conversation.
Okay.
And
Okay, so, and they've been great. So, I mean, I appreciate that too. So, in terms of like what we thought, and probably the contract that you're writing, we still have money how does that work? Do we draw down? Is there still money that we have to, continue with the Donovan Group?
Yeah, we had budgeted into a little bit. Now, we only budgeted probably, you tell me, what did we budget for going?
For next year,
Yeah, because we probably budgeted to like November.
I have it, I want to say I have like 15
Okay,
in there.
that's
A little conservative, just in case.
I was gonna say that would have been very conservative going, which.
Yeah, I want to make sure we didn't, not to jump in, but I think there was going to be further discussion too on possibly using.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We
So,
potentially,
that's right.
we were potentially going to then piggyback their work in, for the strategic plan too. So we did budget.
Oh, I see. Okay,
That's right.
good idea. Good idea.
That's what I was.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also think we should have a frank discussion at the ad hoc meeting about communication is an important piece.
Yeah.
CSG had an arm that was supposed to do that for us.
Yep.
Or an egg.
Yeah.
Whatever. And that fell through. So why is it continuing to be our bill?
Mhm.
Communication is a part of the whole study of the project, and it should be coming out of the same place the CSG is coming out of.
Yeah, and they didn't do it, so that's part of like their scope of services, so,
There's money in that fund.
yeah, okay, good.
So as long as there's some there.
I would just send the bills over.
I was going to add some, that'd be fine, but I can't hit, it's a town line, so I'd have to figure out.
Right. But it's,
Blast it over there.
so I hate to, I'm just bringing up these.
We have staff money.
Oh, yeah, that's what.
Board of Education money, rather than the town covering it. And
I just think they're good, and I think that we should really continue to have them, because I think they're very effective. And I think they're very, ethical in their response as far as how they're doing things.
Very thorough
Yes,
for, being new to the state, and yet they've got it down.
Actually, another district just picked them up too.
oh, good.
Yeah.
So do we get like a little, because you brought them here.
I haven't asked them. I haven't asked them yet.
Or the board get a finder's fee, not you, Patrick. Let's not even have that on there. Yeah.
I also did share, because I watched the Jamie video right before the meeting, the ad hoc meeting, and I shared very thorough information about what Jamie had said during the meeting,
you know, the 85%,
Yeah.
the, communication piece across the board. So everybody at the ad hoc meeting knows what Jamie had, told us. She critiqued what was going on, and everybody should be aware of that going forward. And it's on a video on our page. Hopefully some will go and look at that because it was pretty eye-opening. So if there's no other discussion about the renovation project, no more questions, no more comments, then I think we should go back up to the financial report.
So I did include in this one, at the last, ad hoc meeting, the last, finance subcommittee meeting, we went through the projections pretty thoroughly. Before I jumped into those, does anyone have any specific questions on your date report? It's pretty standard this time, so. So if we go, I think it's on page 40, is, I tried to keep it pretty consistent with what I've been doing over the last year or so with the projections. The first page there is the big cover page. That's basically, I think I've shared before, like I have a pretty extensive sheet where I put assumptions in and it rolls up into these numbers so I can kind of see where we are for the year. Instead of going through those line by line this year, I tried to put on the next page down a pretty extensive explanation of why each cost center is why, like what I think. So, you know, salaries, if we're projecting a surplus, why do I think that? And so on and so forth. Just to kind of jump to it, that yellow number, the 272,144,96, that was my updated end of year projection. I wrote it in here, but again, keep in mind, things are changing on a daily basis. We're still chasing down open POs. We have vendors that are a little behind, as always. There's special ed always stays fluid. There's a number of things that could change, but that was at best, you know, at this snapshot in time, that was my best guess. Like I did in years past below it, basically, the potential revenues, well, for an example, this one already is updated, but Bridge CT Special Ed grant. So that was the grant we weren't receiving or we hadn't had yet. So I put it in as a supplemental revenue. We're actually only getting about 10 right now. What we found out is they actually disperse it quarterly. So we will get the remaining 10,000, but in July. So I'll adjust our new year budget for that. But at the time, we were still under the impression we were getting it in this fiscal year. The high school gas, the 60,000 in potential revenue here. I kind of lumped a few things together. Gas, open POs, and year-end updates. So we did have some savings as far as some of the year-end POs. High school gas, I did have. We're working on that piece still. We thought we had some significant savings there, but then I think I've maybe mentioned it here before. We had, because we're doing a little bit more thorough look at the financials now. I have someone in the business office was diving in and saying like, oh, we have a supply fee, but not a delivery fee for the high school. And, why do we not have one of them? And then Eversource came out and come to find out we've had a broken meter at the high school. So we're working on that. That may adjust some things, but I'd rather find out about it now than down the road. So that's a potential, hopefully not as bad as it could be. I don't think it'll be too bad, but we're diving into that. So that's something we're monitoring. In the red there, you have add 2% back in. So as we mentioned before, you have to remember we have to, because we budgeted 77,193 in this year's budget of the 2% fund. Since we won't use that, you have to add that back in to see what our true return to the 2% fund is. And then that 47,000 Hartford choice loss. I know Patrick spoke a little bit to it at the subcommittee, but essentially it's for choice services for special ed. Hartford reached out to us. We were trying to get upwards of $500,000 that we get back for special ed services. and they were withholding our check. I don't know if you want to kind of,
Yeah, I can speak a little bit. So, what year was this from, Ryan?
well, 22, 23.
Okay, so for us, it was 22, 23. There's a number of districts that are more recent years. And so, the way that reimbursement works for Hartford Choice is you receive a certain amount of dollars for tuition. And it used to be 8,000. And then in the middle of 22, 23, we got additional revenue, not understanding that it was that they raised the tuition. We weren't alone. So there's all types of incentives. They don't really explain like here, you got this, here's your incentive check. So we interpreted it as all districts. I mean, or the majority of districts, that this was part of like the incentives and not an increase in tuition. The following year where it starts off, you understand what it is. So when you have students in special ed and essentially Hartford pays for those additional costs, but you subtract the tuition costs offhand. So in that year, we subtracted 8,000. What they were saying was we should have subtracted 10,000. So for any kid that was in special education, you do the math, it was probably 22 kids because it was $2,000. So it was probably 22 kids that had services that exceeded 10,000. And so they're basically saying like you owe the 44, we calculated where we want to take it off this year. So they're going back several or multiple fiscal years. Some of the districts involved, they're going to involve multiple years, and there's several districts that are well over 100,000. They have gathered together and they are pursuing or potentially pursuing like legal action. My understanding is Hartford's holding on to their checks. So like they have a lot more money, and even the money that's owed, they're not getting the difference right now. I did speak with Denise and I believe Noreen as well on this. We made the strategic play in that we needed to clear the books. They owe us 500. We're going to take the 460 now, and then we'll fight for the 40 on the back end. But we had a lot less than these other districts. All the other districts have well over 100,000. That fight, I can tell you, there's a joint phone call with attorneys and the districts next week. We'll still participate in it. We did under the advisement and strategizing with our attorney, said like we need the funds now. So the strategy we took was fighting on the back end. And so what was the language you used when you cashed the check?
I don't know. It basically accepted it, but not
Yeah, so we basically,
But we're not agreeing with.
basically.
yeah, basically like we're cashing the check, but it's under protest, you owe us another 40.
Yeah.
That wasn't the exact language, but it was around that line. So that was the approach we took, which is different than a number of other districts. I don't know if there's other districts similar to us that were less and just paid it. I think through your CASBO, you said some did just.
Some just paid it. Yeah.
So we were kind of like the middle ground, but like, I mean, if we were on, if they were challenging for 150,000, we may be taking the same approach as those other districts. So that was kind of the approach we took.
So Patrick, when you talk about Hartford, you're talking and the choice program, you're talking about the Department of Education, you're talking about Hartford.
Hartford, yep, the Board of Ed.
Not like, I know sometimes correct kind of.
No, correct.
It has
No,
nothing to do
correct
with.
has no role in this. This is strictly through the Board of Ed or
Board
Hartford.
of Ed, okay. So the Board of Ed?
Don't they have,
Oh.
financial
Yeah.
challenges there?
Yeah. Well, they're in a massive deficit.
So this was our concern too, is we know that Hartford has cash flows.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced they have enough money to pay everyone.
that's
Right.
So we wanted to get our funding as quickly as possible.
Yes.
And so we
That's
took,
been worse.
Yeah, and we had our final payrolls and stuff to run, so selfish. We need the 500 grand to make everything up, so.
so I'm not convinced the districts that are waiting that are like fighting will even, I don't know that I mean, eventually I think they'll get it, but like, I think they might even have to wait longer. If they don't have the cash flow, they don't have the cash flow.
Everything I've heard is they're in a massive deficit this fiscal year, and this new year is also
Yeah.
like quote unquote,
Yeah.
like
Only 2
massive
years,
deficit.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think it was a strategic thing on their part.
Okay, I'm not gonna even ask that question.
Okay, did you want to continue or?
Oh, yeah, so, so that's the, just to put some context on why I have a $47,000 potential ARPA. That is, so that is factored into the year-end numbers. Obviously, if something comes about with that and we get money back, then we would adjust it. The big thing I did kind of differently this time was on page 41. So again, I know sometimes the roll-up version there can get kind of confusing. I tried to put a little bit of an explanation of like the key factors of why I have what I have in there. Like for example, salaries, it's in the green. So it looks like basically we took every salary line that we have, we're ending up with a little bit of a surplus, that 244,000. And again, I try to sum it up. That's more, timing of hires. We have people retiring, new people coming in, pair of vacancies, a few other things. So that kind of played in our favor there. And then I tried to show, some of the lines, for example, purchase services, why it's over. That one, while we did have a really large savings in phone from our new business office associate, was able to go through and consolidate the phone bill and actually save us a decent amount. At the same time, special ed had a significantly higher than budgeted special education services, and that was home hospital tutoring, which has been kind of a consistent theme throughout the year. So even though we saved a bit, we went over a little bit there. Student transportation, we were able to save quite a bit in there, and that was from cutting down from 13 to 12 buses. And then we were able to offset some of the McKinney-Vento costs with grants and things. So basically, I tried to put as best I could, just like some of the major, obviously it's not everything that, filters into why I picked that, but I tried to hit the top points there. And then on the next page down, 42, again, obviously I just kind of spoke to them, but I tried to put a bit of a summary as to those supplemental factors and the reason I do that, because they're not actually booked in Munis. So in order to get you at like an accurate number, I kind of have to work them back in. So that's more of an explanation as to what those were. And then I just, again, put a little bit more explanation in there. I did put a little bit at the bottom there about the other funds that we have. So grants, again, positive news that we were able to draw all of our grants down. We did confirm we're not leaving anything on the table. So nothing's being returned to the state, including Title I grant. We have the kind of new legislation they have. We have to expend 85% of the year one. So say they call it a 2026 grant. We can use some this year and some next year, but you do have to expend 85% of it this year. Some districts had a little bit of an issue with that, and then you end up having to return that money. So that we confirm with the state, we're good. That's to the dollar, 85%. And that includes the grants, that includes all FRC, everything. So even though they bumped it to June 12th from June 30th this year, we got everything down. FRC, I believe, presented it last finance subcommittee, but it looks like they're ending, in the black. So they're not, it's good. They're not going to, they're self-sufficient, and been working with Key just to make sure they're set for year end. Food service, as usual, the state, I believe I just booked April for reimbursements. So that's like our monthly reimbursable meals. So that's why, like, if you were to look at the year-to-date report, the revenue looks a little bit low. That's coming. And then that kind of summed it up for the other funds.
So what are the other, so April, you do quarterly, is that?
So we draw them down I have to have them in at the 15th of every month for food service. So basically our Windsors or what they'll export so we have a new POS system. So it'll basically say, like, here's all your reimbursable meals. It prints out a printout. We go onto the CSD site, put in your reimbursement. You submit it by the 15th. In theory, they're supposed to disperse the money before the 15th of the next month. But I mean, since I've been here, it's usually 2 to 3 months behind. So that's why, like, if you look at the year to date, it could say like 500,000 in revenue, but like 650,000 in expenses. So it looks like, you're underwater, but, usually we get our final, revenue.
So
Usually.
you're just holding that because that may come later, right? So you just,
Oh, it's 100% coming, because, so I've already put it in. So like
Yeah.
May and June, I can see the dollar
Okay.
amount. It's just not actually in the bank account yet. So that's coming.
this is very helpful. I have a thing, what about the POs? I mean, is there a point when you have to close out the books and you're still chasing down these people for reimbursement for purchase orders? Is there a time limit on what you can say? Hey, guys, we're closed, and if you don't get it to us,
We try. I mean, it's,
I mean,
you have to, I mean, we're doing a much better job than we have in years past. I mean, 2 years ago, I think around this time, I think I had like 200 and something open POs, but I also didn't, we were building the business office and we didn't really have our, accounts payable figured out and everything. So we have far fewer right now. And then the nice part is like, the admin assistants at all the schools have been doing a really good job this year with the student activity funds.
it's new last.
That was new. Yeah, the auditor, that was part of, I think it was last year. Yeah, the auditors, instead of in the past where they would do it in a Excel spreadsheet and like a hand checkbook, I put them all in Munis and then did training with all the admin assistants. So they're actually entering their own invoices now, their own POs. And then basically when they're done, they let us know at the central office and then we cut the checks and
And
print
that's
them.
not usually that much, is it? The student activity
Uh,
funds, the PO purchase orders and.
The dollar amount isn't a ton, but I mean, they'll do a fair amount of POs, but then,
Just to get them.
but in positive news, I think there's only like one open student activity fund PO. So they've done a great job on that end. And then I think it'll look really nice in the audit this year because they're reconciled through last month. It's really, like it's usually, electricity, spraying energy. They're always 2 months behind. I mean, we have emails after emails, phone calls. Hey, we would like to close the books. Do you guys want money or not? I mean,
I don't want to be so mean.
yeah, so we do follow-ups. Special ed has a bunch where like they're chasing vendors and,
Inevitably, you're gonna have to pay them.
correct.
It's just a matter of sometimes it's gotta get moved or whatever.
Yeah, the trouble comes because then you open the new fiscal year July 1 and then Munis is a pain to roll the fiscal year and then
Yes,
sometimes it holds Amy up from opening the new year and,
Yeah.
at the same time,
Generally,
you have to pay it.
when does it generally happen? Like,
So she's opening it in Munis like tomorrow, probably tomorrow or Friday. But to fully close it, it's usually closer to like August.
the end of August.
Yeah, because they leave it open for the audit when they come in, and then you can only book things in that's period 13. It's like an audit period, and because things do come in late. It's just then you're flipping between 2 fiscal years, and
I think sometimes it's dependent on when the auditors can start.
pretty correct.
Sometimes it'll
Yeah.
stay open later because the auditors aren't getting here until whenever they're, so.
thanks.
Yeah. No problem.
I will just say, this is very, very, very good, very good. Anybody in town could take this, read it and understand, and, be able to read through everything, what's included in those categories, why it is the way it is. Very thorough, Bruno. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I was gonna say the same thing. I know we both said it at the finance committee, but subcommittee, but, great job. Thank you.
We've come a long ways
Gosh, yes.
from
Yes.
Excel spreadsheets that did add to this. So, excellent job.
Thank you.
Great, there's no other financial report questions?
Thank you, Brian. Liaison and subcommittee reports. I kind of reported on ad hoc, Patrick did as well, but are there any others?
No, so we kind of covered board of selectmen too.
The same sheet?
We just did 5 minutes.
Did,
The sports, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we did that at the left.
Nobody.
Patrick, I have a quick question. It's a little outside. It's just that, the food service and you have to have that, the committee, you have to have somebody. I said I would do it, but I haven't heard any more about it. So is that in the future or?
It is,
Okay.
we actually have the quarterly dates. We had a scramble because we could not close out the food service or audit until we posted the dates on our website. So we haven't posted, so I'll make sure that you get
Okay.
on the invite. It's via Zoom, so you can join through Zoom too.
That's fine. I just.
You know what? I'm actually going to do it now before I forget. Thank you. She sent me an invite.
Oh, maybe I didn't.
I
It's not
thought,
me.
I thought Paula, our nurse leader, I thought she sent me an invite. You know what? I don't even know how to search my calendar.
I
Well,
can do it. I'll add you. I got
Oh
it.
my God, you should see what I could see from here. It's like, I've been this long, I was without here. Oh my goodness.
I'm adding you now, Betsy.
Okay, thank you.
You're in.
So public participation, we have no public here. We did have somebody at the Board of Selectmen's meeting that said he came to a meeting and that we held him to 3 minutes and was, it was almost years ago.
It was yours.
It was years ago.
I don't ever, was I superintendent? Cause I don't ever remember him speaking at a meeting.
It was,
Kate Troll was chair.
Was she?
And that's all I remember because she met and he got a little fired up about the night. So I wonder if we could just be gentler in what we say instead of saying, please limit your comments to 3 minutes, please try. Please try to limit so that it's not like, because he portrayed it as stopwatch on and
The last
go.
let's actually come here and to talk. I mean, I've been very important. I haven't put a lot of energy into worrying about it.
No.
If someone comes, we can obviously decide whether we want to be funny or not.
right. Paul Anderson
I thought-
well went over.
I mean, I had a horrible experience on a Board of Ed meeting years ago when it was the old admin and it was horrible and there was an old chair that no longer lives here anymore and I was treated poorly as a person in the public, so I can understand where that came from. Like crappy, but nobody comes to our meetings, so
Yeah.
if they do come, we'll welcome them.
I have a vague memory of it. I think it was at the very beginning of the school conversations or something, and there were a bunch of people here.
That's right. It was,
And
It wasn't that long.
It was
Bill Lewis, maybe? It was. two
yeah,
people that
it was
said-
Bill Lowe's, right?
Like,
And
well, when I was a kid, we didn't
Yes.
have
Yes.
vice principals and.
I remember the Bill Lowe's, but I don't.
This-
I don't remember the other
this-
gentleman. I remember, I remember, I don't remember the other gentleman.
That's right. But the
I
time
usually
I'm
see-
remembering was before that.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Well, if anybody ever comes to a familiar, we won't keep it to 3 minutes if they have 4 minutes worth to say. So we're on to miscellaneous. Does anybody have miscellaneous?
I just have to, check that the minutes of the, special meeting
Mhm.
are incorrect.
Oh.
I was here and Maureen, I believe, joined.
I
by
was here
phone.
by phone.
I will correct them.
I was here for the ad hoc first.
Good catch. Rick.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna, Corinne, I just sent you an email that, has a document in it for the executive session. If you want to.
Okay, thank you. No, I did see it come through, but I didn't look at it
Okay.
yet.
All right,
I
it's,
have a miscellaneous.
okay,
It just dawned on me. They actually did, at the state level, they actually constituted the blue ribbon panel.
Yes.
The
Really?
education.
for
thing.
ECS?
And they actually have calendar dates set up, which is kind of shocking. They've already had a meeting and they're having another one on the 30th, and I think the meeting like twice a month. I had gotten an email. We've gotten an email from Cade about somebody who works for Cade that's gonna be doing virtual office hours after these meetings to talk to key Board of Education people and get input. I don't know if it's something we would maybe could find beneficial to participate in. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the problem. I can't do it, but, I guess somebody at Cave is gonna kind of do a roundup of what happened at the meeting and get input from Cave people. So there was an email that came out yesterday or the day before. I don't know if we want to do it or,
Certainly at least keep track of it.
yeah.
If you forwarded, I would be, just kind of.
I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, really?
Statement that Will Marie.
Yeah, but-
But
But it
I
would
guess
be
that-
interesting even just to see like what what the conversation, I think.
yeah, I was a little surprised that they actually
Yeah.
constituted it. I mean,
That quick?
usually they have working groups. They have one meeting and then they meet again in 9 months.
Yeah.
This is actually on calendars, like twice a month.
Wait, what do you?
Maybe they're taking it seriously this time. I'll send it to you.
Okay, we have our enrollment report, which is my page. Or I think it's, everybody else is 45 or something. So I know there have been comments about the lower. It's actually the lower grades that are less kids, 20 less, in June this year versus last. No, 20 more. No, 20 less. The old years at the bottom. So do we have any idea why we have so many less?
What were you looking at?
So the enrollment report, if you look at June. Elementary school is 420 at the end of June 1st. And last year it was 445.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I can tell you like, the current grade 1, that was the change of the kindergarten statute. So we were expecting that grade level to be low. That being said, the following grade, we were expecting to be higher in the 7s. So I don't know if that current kindergarten is an outlier. But between those two grade levels, the grade 1 fully expected because the law changed. To start kindergarten, you had to be older by, I think, 3 months, because they moved the date from December to September. So we are anticipating that, as many other school districts. But as far as this year's kindergarten, we were a little surprised by the enrollment of that grade.
So I think it's just, this is part, when we look at this, I think it's part of our strategic plan and some of the things that we need to think about as far as, how we're thinking about, promoting the schools.
Sure. And, even our building project, we're gonna get beat up if we're trying to build schools. We have less kids, that there are people that have already commented on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, part of I feel like the messaging with that though is like we are right sizing the schools though, which makes it more efficient as well too, and saving money long term. And simultaneously with updated facilities, attracting new families.
That's a good message.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Patrick, but I think that, what I hear from people is how many kids graduate this year. And so I think we just need to be aware. I mean, maybe it's the fact that we're talking about our schools are smaller schools, and because our kids are the smaller schools, they get real, they get a different kind of, they get touched by teachers more often, not touched, that's not the word.
Yeah, I would not use that.
Not good. I know what you meant. They will get, sorry. They get more, they have, more of a relationship, something along those lines in terms of just thinking about it strategically.
I mean, if you look at the colleges they're going, I mean, they're going to top-notch colleges. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. I mean, if you took away East Windsor,
But Patrick, it doesn't, they go to top down, but there's still a lot that are not. There's still a lot that are not. And so I'm not downsizing anything. I'm just saying that to the average person out there, what they're looking at is they're looking at how many kids are in the school system sometime and what we're doing. So I think that we can promote it, we can promote it more. I mean,
I think that's, and I know where you're coming from. There was a lot of chatter. There's been a lot of chatter on
Yeah.
Facebook about the small amount of graduating seniors. And 57 students graduated.
That's
The class only had 59 at the beginning of the year,
Right.
and 58 at the end of the
Yeah.
year. But people, somehow it's in their minds that the class is 85 kids and only 57 graduate, when that's not the case.
our graduation rate was over 90%.
was good.
So,
Yeah.
Is that what they're posting out there?
yeah,
They got big classrooms and,
somebody put that, 8% of the class didn't graduate, and I'm looking at it going, okay, well, they're saying, I didn't go, and I didn't count children, but everybody who was there was saying 57 kids graduated, and I'm looking at this going, okay, well, in September we had 59, and in June we had 58, and if 57 graduated, that sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Our data.
I don't know how we get people to
stop it.
stop or give them the valid information in some context where people can get it and understand it easily.
Our data
Because-
gets skewed too, because, and we, we have our state, monitoring meeting in a couple weeks, Daryl and I, and they always say like, bring your issues forward. We bring them, one of the issues we bring forward is the same one. And they acknowledge that it is an issue, but it's yet to be fixed. Is when you have kids that per their special ed program are not prepared to graduate and need to go into, the transition program, the 18 and 21, they're continuing their education. That actually counts against your graduation rate. So they're going to a successful program. They graduate with a successful program, but because they didn't graduate in the 4 years and required extra, like we get knocked, because we're meeting their special needs. And so like at any given year, you could have 3 or 4 of those, as well too. And so like it skews your data, negatively.
Cause they said it was like 80% of the kids that graduated were going to, was it a 2-year or 4-year college, and then the rest were, a couple were military, and a
Yep.
couple were doing trades or something like that. So like, that's good data though. I mean, to be able to put that information out there, I think is good data to say, it's 90%, over 90% graduation rate. I think that's just good information for people to hear. I mean, it is small. I mean, there's not,
Oh, yeah.
like, this isn't new news that it's small town,
I think the
people are still
how do you
concerned
get it
about.
out there to them in a manner that they'll read it and understand it and actually embrace it? Because a lot of people are going and looking on things like niche. Well, first of all, niche is 3 years old, and they're a for-profit marketing company. They will give you whatever you want if you pay them. But they're looking at things that are not real. And I think we need to figure out a way to start getting people to get the information that's actually real and valid.
Can we put out a page on the Board of Ed website that has, like current statistics that are in line with some of like the state programs, but they're current. So that people know, a list of this year's graduates went to blah, and
we had 58 students and 57 graduated.
yes, and then, just spell it out for them, because then if you see something like the 3-to-1 ratio of teachers to students
Yeah.
at high school, you could Yes, yes, each student has 3 teachers.
So the whole, we have a 3-to-1 student teacher.
But that's what
ratio.
people assume.
But the
you're
thing
right.
that I'm trying to say
I mean,
is
that
if
would
we
be-
had
Nine.
an actual statistics page
Yeah.
for if you want to see what's happening actually really in the school, auditable, go to this, we can direct people, well, this is the place to go where the actual statistics for this year are.
How can we do that?
I don't disagree
Yeah,
with you.
But I think that,
The
this is where I
3-to-1
think the Jonathan
ratio,
group
I
would
just
help
was-
us.
Wait a
Really?
minute, that would be.
Because again, that kind of a bigger perspective of, you know, because it is about statistics, but it's about messaging too. And maybe they would be able to help us, the Dunning group, to help us to kind of get that message
Yeah.
because it's kind of,
But it also, if we had a place as board members or community members, and I see an incorrect statistic, I know where to go to find the right information. Because Noreen's always she's got that catalog head. And she's
Yeah.
got all the numbers and everything, and she could just. I don't have that, but if I had
we just.
catalog head. I don't have that, but sometimes I want to counter something, but I can't because I don't know. I don't have the exact thing and I don't want to throw garbage out.
but I agree with you. But I think, even part of that strategic plan of Donovan Group is involved in that. That's a big thing as far as that strategy for communication. I'm in some point.
We all have ways like Maureen, if we all.
I would take myself with one of those things from the library, you know.
Open the door.
A violent cabinet.
Maybe it's something we need to kind of work on think about work on over this summer. Because it gets frustrating, it gets frustrating. To hear.
It's not.
And then it
This is where.
rolls into other lands and just weird nonsense.
But it would be, yeah, and if you had a nice place to go, you had some of these people who are, the ones that skew things and they do it on purpose and they just have a vendetta. And then you could just say, well, here's this. And so then you get to people that they're trained to go, well, I don't think that's the case because I went out here and this says this. And then you get your backers can go someplace to counter the curmudgeons.
Well, and I think it would be helpful to have good, solid information if we're gonna be planning on building schools.
Yes.
That we don't have that nonsensical stuff going on constantly.
Well, it'll go on, but at least people will know them for the nonsense makers that they are.
Yeah.
3-to-1 teacher ratio. I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. That would mean if we have 1,000 kids. We have 3,000 teachers. Where exactly are we?
We are doing really well with the budget.
To the school. I've had that question. So, explain to me why our high school should not be involved in a regional school.
Because nobody wants us.
Nobody for us to be involved in. There's the answer. There is no school for us to be involved in. You tell me where we can find.
You
that.
can only regionalize if there's somebody who wants to regionalize with you and nobody wants to regionalize.
Because on the other hand of that, our kids would be the other ones, the other kids.
I totally agree with you. I'm just saying that's another question.
Patrick always says our schools are doing better than a lot of the schools around currently in this district, in this areas here, so.
But that's again where the communication, so that's again where if that's coming up, that's where somebody who knows how to. I never thought communication was as important as it is, as part of this whole strategy of how you get the message out. So, that's another one where we could have a very concise, really good message, right, that goes out around this. If somebody else, right?
Well, didn't we have some discussion at some point about the Donovan Group doing frequently asked questions related to
We did.
the building?
It's on our website.
Yeah.
They did do it. I don't know if that one was, I don't know if the regionalized one, I don't know if the regionalized one was
Yeah.
on there, but
Yeah.
But
well, most of them, but like if anytime we wanted them to add one, like we could add that question, we could, and they could provide the response and it could be.
It would be a good, it would be a good response, not just for the building project, but overall.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about enrollment here.
I mean, maybe even if it's something, Patrick, that we can, I mean, I will honestly say I am not a great fan of our website. It has its issues. But even if we had somewhere maybe, and it will take some work, within the Board of Ed section that says enrollment tab, and then report gets just put up there. Curriculum, these are our already test score graphs from last month. So like you said, right, we can say, go look right here. And you look at that and say why you're asking this bizarre question. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we have to work on it.
That's a good question for a person who has interest.
But no, I don't really like her one.
So the rest of the correspondence, other than enrollment, the enrollment report are really things not to comment on. They're just memos and letters that are good information to have, but, if we need discussion about them. Does anybody have any comments that they want to make on any of those? Not, we can go into executive session.
I like the e-book name.
Yeah, that's cute. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session at 7:16.
He's Stephanie Bible. Consider. I guess it'll be out.